police arrest somebody for a felony that was actually committed days earlier? All right, that's a good question. Hey, real quick, my name is Anthony Bandiero. I'm an attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training. Bringing to the Roadside Chat. All right, so let's look at this case. It looks like I'm going to have to get involved between, two people who may disagree about the law. So let me answer the question. All right. So the officer, comes from California, but my answer generally does not change here. I think it's pretty consistent around the country. So the officer says, my partner and I observed a vehicle stopped at a traffic light, failed to drive after several cycles of the light. So something's up with the person, right? Made a traffic stop, saw that the driver was hunched over, passed out. Also observed a firearm tucked between the driver's seat and the center console. The officer opened the door, retrieved the firearm without waking the guy up. So far, so good. The driver came to and fled the location of his vehicle. And I don't think, I got to give you a pro tip. Put a vehicle in front of this guy, right? Or stop sticks. One thing I did, I thought it was really genius, quite frankly, but when I had people passed out on the, in the road, I would take out my stop sticks and just, actually I had a single stop stick, by the way, like from one that was used. I just took the one section and I would put that underneath their tire. So if they did flee, they would puncture their tire and it wasn't going to last long. So anyway, I thought that was pretty smart. All right, so the guy took off, all right? The pursuit ensued, but it was terminated. All right. Both him and his partner saw the male's face, saw the driver. He can positively identify the person. A license plate was obtained and conducted, and we found out that the driver was not at the residence. Okay, so we booked the firearm and so forth. All right. Oh, the driver is also a felon, so we have multiple crimes going on here. A few days later, we observed the same vehicle. We immediately recognized it by its license plate and sticker on the back window. We made a traffic stop for a mechanical violation. The driver immediately exited, and I immediately recognized the driver as the one who fled. The driver was detained, handcuffed, and frisked because he had the firearm before. Actually, so far, so good. I do believe that you can justify armed and dangerous. He fled. He's a felon with a gun. All right. Previously, that's good. Wasn't that long ago. My sergeant arrived on scene and said, hey, we can't arrest him for what happened a few nights ago. Also, the sergeant says we cannot mirandize him and talk to him about the previous incident. So the driver was arrested for DUI and booked into jail. Are we correct here? No. Look, I'm not here to criticize, right? I'm here to teach the law, right? But based on these facts, and Sarge, if you're watching this and you got something else, please just call me, right? If you want to go into the comments of YouTube and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this, and I'll give you my phone number, or you can email me at anthony@bluetogold.com. But where's the law here, right? First of all, let's talk about the arrest. What is the law in California, right, regarding arrests? Well, it's Penal Code 836, right? And it says a peace officer may arrest a person in obedience to a warrant, or without a warrant may arrest a person whenever any of the following circumstances occur. The officer has probable cause to believe that the person to be arrested has committed a public offense in the officer's presence. The person arrested has committed a felony, although not in the officer's presence. The officer has probable cause to believe that the person to be arrested has committed a felony, whether or not a felony, in fact, has been committed. Okay, so what we have here is the person to be arrested has committed a felony, right, in the officer's presence, right, carrying the gun without, well, I don't know if it's a felony for the concealed part, but we learned later that it was a felony, right, because he's a prohibited person. So the person to be arrested committed a felony, although not in the officer's presence, even if we go with the logic that we learned later that he committed a felony. And I still think that, I may be wrong here, that he may have committed a felony just with the if he was not even a felon, he committed a felony. I'm not positive on that. So we have that. There is no requirement that it be done that if he gets away, we can't arrest him a few days later. Okay? The statute of limitations does not run on this. Also, this is backed up by case law. Okay? Stiegel versus United States, U.S. Supreme Court. If probable cause exists, no warrant is required to apprehend a suspected felon in a public place. Period. Full stop. That's the rule. Now, I think, and I may be wrong, but I think my sergeant here is mixing up the doctrine of the stale misdemeanor rule. California has this rule that only applies to misdemeanors. And it's the stale misdemeanor rule. And it basically says this. If you cannot reasonably arrest if you have probable cause for a misdemeanor committed in your presence, and you unreasonably delay that arrest, right? You cannot then arrest him later. You have to just cite and release. But that's not what's going on here. We're not arresting the person just for misdemeanors. We're arresting him for felonies. So there is no stale felony rule in California. It's only misdemeanors. And that's the only thing I can think that the sergeant is thinking of. So if that's the case, hopefully I fix that. The next thing we got to talk about is this Miranda issue. I'm just not sure where this is coming from, right? I understand that the law can be very complicated, but anywhere is this rule that we cannot Mirandize somebody and talk to them about criminal activity? Now, if they want a lawyer, okay, that's right. If maybe that's part of the facts, I don't know. If they wanted a lawyer or they wanted to remain silent, not only can you not talk to them about the DUI, like you can ask them incriminating questions if they're in custody, but also you can't ask them about previous criminal activity, right? The stuff that happened a few days ago, if they want a lawyer or the right to remain silent. But unless they did that, there is no prohibition whatsoever to Mirandize this guy on scene and try to talk to him about what happened a few days ago. So I hope this helps, right? Look, this is why I'm here, to try to educate officers around the country. And do not think for 1 second that I had all the answers when I was an officer, right? A trooper. I made a lot of mistakes. And I think that this is just an honest mistake here. So hopefully this fixes it, right? Hopefully this fixes it. Hopefully next time, we can have a little bit more power and do our job out there, right? Your job is already hard enough. All right, guys, do me a favor. If you like what I'm doing here, if you're happy with these questions and answers, if you're like, yeah, I see value in this, I'm going to ask you one favor. That's just hit the subscribe button. That tells me and it tells YouTube that you see value in this. And guess what YouTube then does? It puts these videos in other people's streams that are like-minded, that are watching similar videos as you, right? And we won't talk about what videos you're watching. We'll leave that for another day. All right, my friends, I'll see you next time.